And we can see your heart behind what you do.
Mhm.
And I know like it's a lot of it's rooted in like your family and caring for your family.
Yep.
One of the things we like to just talk about is like, hard times in your like life or career, where, you feel like giving up. Like how did you respond? And, what changed, and, how did it make you stronger and things like that? I know you told us an amazing story about your family.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
We would love to hear that.
Yeah.
I think that gets to the heart of what makes you you.
Sure.
That's a big part.
Yeah, and it's funny too to me because it's where a mindset shift happened for me.
Mhm.
So basically where this goes back to, I was still teaching, and my wife, we found out we were pregnant, or she was pregnant, and that we were going to have a kid, and also our first kid. We, both of us teachers, right? Like I was not. We just bought a house, right? Not financially set to be able to handle a kid, right? So we're just trying to figure out how to pay the hospital bill, right, for her to be born. And so she's born, and they do the first hearing test, right? And the hearing, it does no response, right? And they test all the kids when they're first born, right?
Mhm.
No response. They were like, "Don't worry about it, no big deal. Like it's could be whatever, ish fluid in the head and whatever that could affect it. It happens all the time, no big deal." So then they come back and test again before we leave the hospital. Still didn't do it. So then they set us up with a specialist to come back and test again later on.
Yeah.
And it just kind of goes on and on again for about 4 months. We don't know what's going on with her, but she's still a happy, fun little kid and stuff like that.
Mhm.
We're having a great time with her. And we have to sit down and have this where they put them to sleep and test that way so that they can test to see if there's a brain signal. They're basically putting sounds in their ear and determining if there's brain activity that goes with it, right? Well, we sit there for like 3 hours and nothing.
Yeah.
And it was really concerning because the tech was looking at me like, "Oh no," but she couldn't tell me anything because we're not going to wake her up.
Right.
And come to find out, Cameron was almost profound, like the term was profoundly deaf, right?
Okay.
And so she could hear a lawnmower like on the left side, but a plane taking off would be what she'd have to hear to be able to hear anything coming on the right side. And so obviously that's not stuff that you can work with speech and development and stuff like that. So we found out about the Center for Hearing and Speech, Houston Center for Hearing and Speech, and they got us set up with hearing aids and stuff like that because, believe it or not, hearing aids for kids or for babies like that are considered cosmetic. So insurance doesn't cover it. So long story short, Houston Center for Hearing and Speech, special place in my heart for them too, because they helped us through a really tough time. And Cameron had to go through a bunch of therapy and stuff. When we started looking like appointments where you just get nickel and dime, around like $50 here, $70 here, this, that, whatever.
Mhm.
And come to find out, through all these appointments, the hearing loss was caused by a virus called cytomegalovirus, CMV for short. And I guess it's the most common source of deafness for Americans or in the world that aren't genetic, right? So anyways, they were worried because this virus can potentially cause mental retardation, blindness, all kinds, like she could just completely deteriorate into just nothing, right?
Right.
And they wanted us to do antiviral medication. Antiviral medication turned out to be like $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 a month, right? So the mortgage.
Wow.
Goodness gracious.
And when we're sitting in there, we're sitting in this appointment, my wife and I looking at each other like, how are we going to come up with this money to be able to do this? Like, are we going to sell the house?
Yeah.
Move in with my parents and do this. And that was where that mindset shift came from, is that as much as I love coaching and teaching, I wasn't doing enough to provide for my family to where we had to make a decision based off of this
Yeah.
to be able to do things. And so that's when I started thinking about things that I needed to do differently, career wise.
Yeah.
And so that's how I'd already kind of planned on getting into real estate as like my second career.
Mhm.
And what I did is I just went ahead and sped it up. So
Yeah.
No second career.
no,
It's going to be your first.
the career. Yep.
Right,
The career.
that's it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well,
Wow. Thanks so much for sharing that.
oh yeah.
gosh, yeah, really. And just talk about, I mean, I just hear like a heart that's deeply motivated
Yeah.
to, one, as a man and a husband, to take care of his family.
Yep.
Right. That speaks really well to my heart. And you didn't know. So you just did.
Yeah.
Right. You're like, I don't really have a choice here.
Mhm.
This is what I'm doing.
Mhm.
And somebody told you to knock on 200 doors a day and you didn't question.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like one of the things that I always think back to is the John Steinbeck book, right? Or that one chapter of the turtle crossing the road. It's just a description of the turtle crossing the road, right? Tired, worn out, miserable, but it still just had to carry on
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is I feel like a lot of times like people shut down.
Yeah.
When they start to face things like that. And the problem is that that's not the answer. The answer is you're going to have to get up and find a way
Yeah.
to just move forward. Even if it's just a little bit, you've got to be able to get up and do something
Right.
to be able to change your circumstances.
Just one more step.
Yeah.
Just one
Yep.
more step.
Yep.
And take another.
Yep.
And another.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. That's
Really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really
It
good.
challenges me. I mean, being in this industry,
Mhm.
as you know, you kind of you have to make the decision every day. How much effort are you going to put in?
Yeah.
And like having those things to, things that you care about. You realize like the work that you do is going to, take care of the things that you care about. And I think that's really, really cool just to hear like your story. And I think for the people listening, they can reflect on, okay, like, what do I most care about? What am I going to do to, set myself up for success? And I think your involvement in the community just speaks volumes. I remember when we met, Troy, it was like an episode of Cheers.
It was so much.
We went to a local restaurant, sports bar, and I think maybe five or 10 people
Came
walked by
by,
and
hugged him,
showed up.
shook his hand.
But
introduced us.
that's really like how you have to ingrain yourself in the community
Yeah.
if you're going to be, because most people I would say don't have community.
Yeah.
They don't have a strong support system. They don't really have people to call.
Yeah.
You have to place yourself in community. Community is not going to reach out.
No.
You have to be
In it.
a contributing member of the community.
Yep. And that's the thing, like it goes back to what we talked about earlier about bringing something of value, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the best parts about community is when you bring other people into the community, they benefit and everybody else in the community benefits, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like one of my big jobs is I need to make sure that I'm bringing great vendors to everybody in that community, right? Whether it's lenders, whether it's title company, whether it's inspectors, whether it's any contractors,
Right.
handyman, like
Yeah.
people that can trust. Like one of the things that I run into the most that people ask me about is, who do you trust to do this?
Gosh,
Yeah.
yes.
And that's my job is to connect those people with the people that I trust.